Wow, check this out. We are at the British Motor Show pop-up event at Marshall's BMW in Hook, near Basingstoke.
It is amazing, right?
Check this out, and the sun's out.
The sun's out, and there's a Mini that's as bright as the sun.
It's so cool, isn't it?
It was meant to be.
And this is a working Mini.
Wow, it's a working Mini, original AA vehicle from back in the day, but does it not look as good? It probably looks better today than it ever did.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hang on, so who are you? I haven't introduced who this is. Some of you will know him, of course, but Sam, introduce yourself.
So I'm Sam Hard, and I own Hard Up Garage, and I buy and sell probably the most eclectic mix of cars in the world, from all around the world as well. I buy cars in from the States, from people like Richard Rawlins, Ed Bolian, but I'm here with you today, and I'm really proud to be with you. I mean, being here at Marshall's BMW, they're promoting ULEZ compliant vehicles. They're selling a lot of electric vehicles now, and you've been smashing that out of the park, haven't you, really?
Well, I live in London, so I'm affected by it, and I know a lot of people that are affected by it, so it's an important issue. But, you know, I do a lot of ULEZ content, but today we're here to celebrate cars.
We are.
And we've got some beautiful machinery here, and some quite, you know, different type of stuff. I mean, some eclectic mix of cars here.
Eccentric.
Talk me around. I'll tell you what, I'll put you on camera. Talk me around some of the stuff we've got here.
Basically, these guys here, they develop and build the BMW Z3 kit with a body on. So classic Coachworks themselves. This one here is the Le Mans Ferrari, and next to it you've also got the Isabella, but these cars are absolutely stunning. You've got convertible, standard coupe, and then you've got the BMW on the end. But these cars inside, when you get up close to them, you can see that they are a BMW, but 99.9% of the people out there that love cars but don't know every little nitty-gritty will be fooled by this, because the build quality is second level too. I mean, look, even the most crazy vibrant coloured custom cars are here too. I mean, this is a real...
What do we call that? Plum crazy?
I'd say that's plum crazy.
That's plum crazy, isn't it? That is awesome.
Lovely.
But these are great because they, you know, these definitely fooled me. The first time I saw a yellow one of these at, I think it was Bromley pageant or one of those events, you know, and it really fooled me when I saw it coming down the road, because I was like, what is it? Until I ran up to it and looked at the interior. Exactly. And then I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I mean, with classic Coachworks as well, if you've bought a car, right, you have a Z3 that's maybe a bit battered and a bit beaten, and you want to revitalise it, you can reach out to these guys and buy the body kit to convert it to a Cobra, a Ferrari, a BMW, whatever you want, and make it your own. You can have a go, you can do it with your family members, you can have a bit of fun.
What about the concept of, like, you're not driving the real thing? I mean, at the end of the day, cars are about having fun, right? Who cares if it's real?
No one cares. I mean, I'm the king of replica. I've had Diablos, fake Ferrari, F40s, and I think the most of the fun of it is the fun you have in it. And I mean, you can have fun in a Fiesta or a Ferrari, right?
Yeah, totally. And you've got a replica here today, which we'll have a look at. But let's walk down here. This one really confused me, this one here. You know, because when it turned up, I was like, what? For
me, this car is finished in a gel coat. So this is not painted in any way, shape or form. This is the fiberglass gel coat. But for me, I think the patina looks really good, and the wheels as well with the hubcap. It just gives you that edge and does throw you off. But like even behind you, that's a gel coat as well, which is super, super cool, you know? British Motor Show again, you know, I've been working with the British Motor Show for a long time now. And knowing how much these pop-up events do bring people in, the family and the friends, the British Motor Show is all about that. And you, Shazad, when we've been at the shows together, you know how important these are for families and bringing the next generation in.
I was saying that the motor show is almost not actually an accurate description.
No.
Because it's more of a family day out, those events.
More of a fun day.
It's a fun day
happens
out.
To have cars.
It happens to have cars. But because a lot of people, I say it's a British Motor Show, and they're, oh, you know, it's just a big hangar full of cars. I say, oh, no, it's so much more than that.
And this year, I think they've gone a bit above and beyond with what they want to do at the British Motor Show. A lot more family-orientated stuff. So, you know, a lot of car shows nowadays you go to, and you can walk around quickly in an hour. You won't see everything, but you can get around an hour. If you're there at the British Motor Show for 4 or 5 hours, you're still not going to get done. You're going to miss stuff. Even if you go around twice, you're going to catch up on things you missed.
But also, there's a lot of stuff going on. So there's the live shows, and you know, the amazing stunt shows that happen in the main
Paul
arena.
Swift's there as well.
Some incredible records are being broken.
Every time. Guinness World Records are there, smashing out of the park. Petrol Hedonism have a zone as well, so they've got drifting, that kind of stuff. Look at this. This is just unbelievable. You're starting to walk around, and for me, the Cooper S back in the day was all about the Cooper S as in supercharged. As the car and the year starts progressing on, they bolted a whacking great turbo to the front, which we love. Everyone loves a turbo, right?
If you're talking about quirky, and this is a car that often turns up at the British Motor Show, which is the I think it was Roger Moore got into this car, and just after they'd blown up his Esprit. His Esprit had the best anti-theft device ever, because when the thieves tried to take it, when the gangsters tried to get into the car, it basically blew itself up.
I like that.
So basically, nobody can have it, it just blew itself up. So he ends up getting into one of these and chasing down the hill in it.
See, I've never had a 2CV in my life. I've had hundreds.
Have you driven one of these?
Never driven one.
Oh, they are so much fun. They're absolutely hilarious.
Our car is a recreation model of it.
So it's got the bullet holes.
It's got the bullet holes. It's a bit of fun. And you know what? We've said this once, we've said it twice. We can't say it enough. If you're not having fun, then maybe cars aren't the thing for you. You know, for me, like, cars are fantastic because they look beautiful. But when they're working and they're running, it's that 3D aspect, the 4D aspect, the smell, the burning of your eyes from the petrol, is that element which you'll never forget, right?
I got to say, I agree with you, and I think that one of the issues that I have with a lot of my contemporaries, our fellow motoring journalists, is that sometimes they take this stuff too seriously.
Yeah, okay.
I never have, because I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, we're not reporting on war, we're not reporting on politics, we're talking about cars. We're talking about cars are fun. And this one's quite fun because I'm quite familiar with this one.
I've been talking to you about this car for a long time, and a triple black 325 E30, like the beautiful lines, the finesse, and the paintwork is gorgeous. And I love how proud you are about this car. It makes me so excited to see your face light up when we talk about it. It's amazing.
It's the relationships that you have with these things. That's the most important thing, right?
Exactly. I mean, people don't ever remember, but basically after World War I, World War II, people came back from the war with all these machines, okay? So the Industrial Revolution left us all these vehicles that helped us win our freedom, right? And then what they did with these cars is they put those engines in different cars and made hot rods and stuff like that in the 40s and the 50s. They put the V8s in. And then basically the American dream and the independence and the world of, you know, exploring the world was down to the revolution of like this automotive engine, the combustion engine. And I know we're getting to a point in life
I think this is a very interesting point that you're making, because I think, you know, and I've been doing a lot of content about how we appear to be falling out of love with the car, but we've had over 100-year love relationship with the car. It's just incredible,
But we've got to take into consideration, okay, the last 100 years, the last century, we have put engines in cars, and we have, you know, we do produce emissions, we do that, and I completely take it into consideration, and we're trying to make things better. I understand that. But you've got to understand, 100 years is a minor road blip in the world and what has been done. And I understand people are saying we're ruining it in some ways, but what we're trying to do now is make these cars run on sustainable fuels so that we can keep them on the road. We're going down the electric route with the classic conversions, and then we're also going down the route of making these cars run smoother, run quieter, and more fuel effective and cost effective as well. And I think that's important. I mean, what's your thoughts on that aspect of trying to keep these cars on the road?
I think it's very important, and I think that e-fuels and synthetic fuels and alternative fuels are going to be very important to keep these on the road. And the British Motor Show, they are highly active in this because they're running their Mustang.
So I've been working.
You've been working on that,
so
and you're running the Mustang on e-fuels, which is amazing.
So sustained by Coritim, we've been running the Mustang on it for over 4,000 miles now, and we've noticed that the car doesn't run any different. Okay, it doesn't affect the emissions, and it's CO2 neutral. And what that means for people out there, how can a fuel be CO2 neutral, right? Well, basically, let's say a plant grows and it uses oxygen, okay? So it produces the oxygen and then consumes the CO2, right? Well, when that plant is used and biodegraded, it therefore can be used to generate energy, right? That energy, therefore, is then converted into a fuel in places like Iraq and stuff like that, and then barreled up and brought back. So basically, when the plant was grown, okay, that's when it absorbed CO2 out of the air and produced oxygen. And now what we're doing is when it's burning in a car, it is therefore producing it. So it's not saying it's negative or zero, we are saying it's neutral because we're reusing that CO2
it's an amazing thing, and I think this is what a lot of people are not looking at, the fact that there are alternatives, there are alternative possibilities. Not only that, that's called biofuel. And another way of doing it is literally carbon extraction. Where you can literally extract the carbon back out of the air, combine it with oxygen and turn it back into fuel, which is amazing.
We are not giving up on our cars, guys. We're going to have a little mooch around.
So here is the car that we were talking about, actually. This is the one, and the number plate's fantastic.
Absolutely lovely. Now, I love how English number plates are so ugly, yet we still find a way of making them present our names, right?
You know, I saw a genuine Cobra on Tuesday, a genuine Shelby Cobra, which had appeared in Viva Las Vegas with Elvis Presley. Guess what the number plate was?
I don't know.
B008.
Wow. Gotta love a tactical boo.
Cheeky but fun. But what a great car. So this is the actual Mustang?
Yeah, 2020 Mustang, 5-litre V8, naturally aspirated, no whacking great turbos or superchargers, but has been run on the correlated sustained fuel.
Yeah. One of the great things about today is all the cool cars that are coming in and out. We've just got an M2 about to enter. This is the entrance to the actual place where we are.
Yeah.
And this is Marshall BMW and Hook. And we've got some amazing cars lined up behind you, including what looks like a Diablo.
So this car has been renamed the Diablo, okay? So it's a fake Diablo. It was owned by the famous Richard Rawlins from Gas Monkey Garage. And this car, to anyone, even Lamborghini owners, until you get looking inside the car, would fool anyone. This is an exact replica of a Diablo VT, and the VT stands for viscous traction. So this would have been the four-wheel drive version. But when you get underneath this car, okay, this has got a full ladder chassis, and the ladder chassis itself would allow you to actually convert this to a real Diablo if you had the running gear. Bodywork needs a little bit of love, the interior needs a bit of love, but it is a very, very cool car. Does look like it's been hot wired by somebody, but behind us.
But is this the sort of car that would be used like as a prop, for example?
So it would actually be driven around because it has got a 700 horsepower supercharged race engine. So not only does it look like a Diablo, it will go like
it probably would, yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah. I know you do a lot of this. I know you pick up a lot of ex-movie cars and stuff like that. I mean, this is how they do the movie cars, isn't it? They 100%. Build replicas, right?
So in the movie Need for Speed, they had the Koenigseggs and all the Ferraris and the Lambos, and they're all replicas on kit car chassis. So you're still getting that performance look of a supercar like this, but you are getting that drivability and the reliability. You can't imagine that a V12 Lamborghini from 1974 is going to go wrong. The parts are going to be a nightmare to get hold of. You throw a small block Chevy in it, or even a Rover V8.
It's normally LS motors, don't they?
100%. So this is an LS. It's an LS supercharged. But at least the parts are on the shelf, and you can get them off eBay. You can find them on there.
And you always manage to find these cars. You were telling me earlier you got the cars from the Fast and Furious, the ones that jumped the building, the Lykan Hypersport.
I've had 2 Lykan Hypersports. I've had 3 Eclipses, 2 Jettas with brake calipers. I've had the Oshkosh Dune truck in the train heist. I had that. I've had a Corvette C1 replica, Ferrari F40 replica. I've had loads of different movie cars. And for me, I get the phone calls like, Sam, you buy crap, this is the car for you. So it is exactly that, you know.
Fiesta's now left us, hasn't it? So the Fiesta's ended production. So these are, all of a sudden, these are now really collectible.
Modern classics are going through the roof. And I think, is this a Mark 1?
Looks like.
It looks Mark 1. XR2. I grew up with an XR3 Escort Mark IV, and I used to call it XR3. I used to call it XR3 in a little bit. And absolutely beautiful cars, but you know, the colour, the decals, and the styling. That car with the pepper pots on as well. I mean, that's a really cool car, right?
No, that's really good. And look at this, John Cooper signature on this one.
See,
that's a proper Mini.
I think to myself, this is one of the last ones. I think it was 51 plate. 2001 was the last of this shape of the Mini. But these cars are getting harder and harder to find. There was times where I was buying these off my dinner ladies for £50.
I was going to say, a few £100 would get you a really good one.
A good one.
Not very long ago.
No.
But now you're looking at maybe £20,000–30,000 for something like that.
And you know what? You're never going to lose your money, are you? You know, when you start looking around these cars, there's a couple of areas you should be looking, and below the headlights, on the seam joints here, below the doors on the A-pillars.
And these joints as well.
The joints up on the roof. And down here, you'd always get the bubbles. But this car is absolutely flawless. Later on, obviously, you had to keep in with the EU compliance. So this car has got airbags. It does have like ABS, traction control, and fuel injection, possibly, unless it's been converted. But absolutely beautiful car. How cool is that? 2012.
Oh, we've got the Olympics. We've got the Olympics in here.
The Olympics in it. So obviously, this car here, homage to 2012, which we love. Isn't that a beautiful bit of kit?
An Olympic special, that one.
So is that original? Yeah. You kept it all original?
Was that a special edition then?
Yes, they made 2012 for the London 2012.
Oh, they made 2012 for the 2012.
They stickered it all up for the Olympics.
Really cool.
So yeah, it's one I was lucky to get hold of. I think there's not very many around still, and still on the road. I'm just about to do the London to Brighton mini run.
Oh wow!
I'm going this afternoon. That's why it's all kitted out with everything. Yeah, I'm just about to go down to Cheam, join up with all the big run. I think I'll meet up at Fleet Services.
So this must get some real looks when you take it out.
Hopefully, yeah. I've just got to get Tim over there to get a photograph of him.
I'm sure. Tim's a good guy.
I'm very
sure
proud of this little car.
Honestly, when I saw the flags hanging in the window, I was like, that is pretty cool.
Right.
And then I noticed the number plate 62, obviously it's a 2012, and then the livery on the bonnet, on the hood, also on the roof.
I've replaced all that because it obviously deteriorated after only about 5-year guarantee.
It's 11 years old. Yeah. I mean, the car looks like it rolled off the factory yesterday. I mean, the graphite wheels really make this car modern. I feel it gives you that modern kind of feel. But
there was limited colour for these for this for the Olympics as well. So that's what they taught, chili red with the graphite wheels. So all the dashboards all custom.
I did not know that. No.
Have a look at the dashboard.
So 2009 is when they changed the design. So basically, when the Mini came out, the headlight itself, like the one up there, the headlight is built into the bonnet, and in 2009 it is basically left in the car, and you can open the bonnet over the headlight, which is nice. We're gonna have a quick look inside. So, wow, look at the stitching on those seats. Look at that.
Oh wow.
I have never noticed that. And you've got obviously the English ring around the headrest, but you've got the triple stitching as well with the blue and the red. Oh, look at the dash.
Oh, that's nice.
Look at that.
Look at that. So Rolls-Royce is offering that now.
I know, right?
This was back then.
They're 11 years behind Rolls-Royce. Come on, sort it out.
They already had it in the Mini. This is brilliant. What was your name, sir?
It's James.
This is a camera. And I am just filming your Ecto 1 model because that's just absolutely brilliant.
Do you know what year and model the Ecto? Do you know what year the Ecto 1 is?
It's a 59.
It's a 59. There's a very small change between a 60. A 60 would have a smaller fin, but exactly the same in the front.
Yeah. But that's just beautiful. That's
we love
really
your car,
detailed.
By the way, buddy.
Really, really nice.
We
love your car.
Very, very cool.
Most favourite car ever. Really?
One of my favourite things about car shows is like-minded people.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what you got some wheels holding you to the ground.
What I say about car shows and why they're such a great thing for, I think, there's a lot of discussion about mental health and all of these sort of things. And I think the great thing about car shows is the community.
Yeah.
And it brings people together.
100%.
And then no matter where you're from or who you are or what age or whatever, suddenly when we're all around cars, we're all car people.
That's it.
It's amazing.
So this is the car I wanted to talk to you about. So basically 15 years ago when I worked at Mercedes-Benz, I qualified as a qualified mechanic. And when I did so, my life changed a little bit, and I went to Brooklands Motor Museum and they took me around the track in an E55 AMG, which is supercharged rocket ship hand-built car, but it was an estate car. And the gentleman turned to me and said, you've got to understand that the estate vehicle has a better power to weight ratio than the saloon, because what you're getting is you've got a massive whacking great V8 in the front, you've got the original monocoque chassis all the way through, but then having that bit extra weight on the back gives you that feel of the car a lot more. And when they brought out the M3 estate, it was finally a contender to those estate cars that Mercedes have been producing. But the finesse in this car, you're looking at it at a quick glance, it just looks like a black car. Then you notice the carbon, the 360 cameras, you notice the red leather with the carbon inlay in the middle. This is like quadruple carbon inlay. Look at the screen. This car is next level cool, isn't it?
That's very cool, yeah. And the thing is, it's good to know that you've got the 3 Series and the 4 Series. They're still the pick of the bunch, aren't they?
They are.
You know, those are like, mine is the 3 Series, and the 3 Series was always the one to have.
Yeah.
And it's still the one to have, isn't it, today? And you know, back in the 80s when that car came out, there was a hierarchy of cars.
Yeah.
You wanted a Golf GTI. Once you got that, you wanted one of these. Once you got that, you then wanted a 911. So that was the car that most people ended up with.
I agree with you. Have you ever seen a series called White Gold? So it's the guys from basically back in the In-Betweeners series.
Right.
And it's about when UPVC windows come around in the early 90s, right? And all the showrooms were making loads of money because everyone wanted double glazed windows, right? And there was this little fight between the geezers as who's going to have the coolest car. And one of them's got the Mercedes SL, and then one of them's got the M3 and XR3 RS turbos and Lotus Coltons, and they're all like in their early 20s. Struggling to get insured. And I think that's brilliant, isn't it?
Well, we were all on our dad's insurance. I remember me and my friends used to hang out in London. One of us had a Mercedes 190.
Yeah.
And then I had a Lancia Prisma symbol.
Oh, okay.
Right? And another friend of mine had a Granada Scorpio.
Yeah.
The original one, right? And we used to just bomb around London, and they were all on our dad's insurance and stuff.
I like that. So when I was 17 years old, I found out that, do you remember something called National Farmers Union? Yeah. Right? So now National Farmers Union is designed for farmers, yeah? So if you insured one car, there was no clause of age, so you could drive any other car as long as it was in someone else's name. So I bought a Metro and I insured it for £2,000 with NFU. I was driving a twin-entry turbo MR2 and a 1977 Oldsmobile Cutlass at 17.
Wow, there used to be ways around this stuff,
That's
right?
it.
But the trouble
Not
is
anymore.
they've closed all the loopholes, haven't they?
You can't put a black box in a blooming Robin Reliant. Mark's car. So a lot of people don't realise with these Aston Martins, right, is the key. Okay, Mark, can you just show us how this car
You know what it's called? You know what it's called? The emotion control chip.
Are you serious?
That's what they called it, didn't they?
It is.
Look at that.
There you go.
Is that not like one of the most beautiful keys ever designed?
No, it's not a key. It's an emotion control chip. That's what it is, and it goes into a slot, I believe.
Mark, can you show us in the insertion of the emotion control?
We don't often have insertions on my channel, but there you go.
Today, it's all happening. So look at that.
There you go, that's where it goes.
It glides in, and it looks as though it was part of the dash. Look at that.
Well, you see what happens? It turns into a starter button halfway through.
We're in Star Trek again, aren't we?
This is brilliant, isn't it? This is great.
This car is absolutely beautiful. You know, when James Bond sort of went over with this car, you've got to understand, so the developer and the designer of the Aston Martin went over to Jaguar later on in life, and that's where you get the
Ian Callum.
That's
it, yeah. And he designed this.
He did?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, haven't you?
What does that do? No way!
Oh, there you go.
That's ridiculous.
And does it fire missiles or darts or something?
Shouldn't say. This is the last of the first series models. So she's got 470 horse engine in it, and this one is original with no added extras.
How often do you use it?
Every weekend.
Excellent, excellent. These cars are meant to be used, and I think that's one of the great things is to see them out and about, you know, not being kept as show cars.
It is funny because you've got to take into consideration that after like the James Bond DB4 and those cars that were iconic to the James Bond era, Aston Martin did really struggle to sort of bring out a car that was a little bit on edge and a bit of a wow car, and then when this car came out, it did exactly that. It gave you that muscular feel of a Jaguar as opposed to an old person's car.
But you know what, I really like the V8 Vantage of the 70s.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I really like that one.
Because the person I want to meet most in my life is Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. He's one of the people I want to meet.
He's got one.
He's got one.
I was one of his first cars, I think.
I didn't know that it was a V8 Vantage. I always thought it was just called an Aston Martin V8 because it's just got the V8 logo. It doesn't actually say Vantage on it. But that is one of the people I want to meet in life. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
Brilliant.
V12.
6 litre.
So I can tell you a fact that I don't know if you know, but each spark plug is £19.84 plus VAT. And the back ones are one of the worst jobs in the world. You've got to remove both inlet manifolds to replace the spark plugs. And not a very nice job, but only due every 36,000 miles, I think, every third service.
What's the mileage on this one?
40,000 and haven't had to do it.
You're getting close. You have to be careful because he normally takes stuff, doesn't he? Because he likes to have a lot of freebies.
Sticky fingers.
He always grabs freebies, doesn't he?
Sticky fingers. Sticky fingers.
I said you have to be careful.
My missus.
No, I'm just freebies. We hear you like freebies.
You grab freebies, don't you? You tried to steal my hat one time.
I would happily wear that hat because I'm beginning to lose it.
Why do you think I wear this?
Obviously, yeah, but when you're tall, generally it doesn't get noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
You get away with it.
But when you're sitting in cars filming,
that's when Fuzz is like, Tim, you're getting a bit of a sunroof. I'm like, no, don't tell me that, but I have a sunroof. Is it happening? Can you see it?
We'll get close up on it, shall we? That's in full 5K glory.
No, I shouldn't be doing that.
We were at the British Motor Show, and Fuzz, I believe, was sticky fingered because of us at British Motor Show, because we ended up with our Tesoro watches,
which he still wears and loves.
Oh, and he wears it on the show, which is fantastic.
Where's mine?
We'll work on that. Well, next time, we'll get you a watch.
I'm actually an Apple. I'm an Apple.
Oh, I wear Apple watches every day, but when I'm at events, I wear my Tesoro.
But have you seen the new Apple Watch, which I found out about last week, called the Apple Watch Ultra?
No, I haven't.
That's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the big chunky one.
Oh yeah, it's the one.
But what I'm going to have to buy you as a gift is, do you remember, AP watches?
Oh hell
stuff
yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
So I bought an AP frame that goes titanium frame that goes round my Apple Watch, and it's like a full metal clasp, and it looks as leery as an AP at a quick glance, but you still get your phone calls through it in your text messages and your
what does
Apple
that
Pay.
cost?
75 quid from China. Or
I
is
thought
that-
you were going to say 75
Yeah,
grand.
I thought
No,
it was going to be something.
so they're 250 quid here in the UK, but
Yeah.
if you buy them on eBay, they're 75 quid and they ship them over in exactly
Okay,
the
so
same.
tell me
AliExpress.
Tell me.
I've got into that recently.
Really?
What?
Yeah, AliExpress. So
Yeah.
it's a website from China. So basically, all the
Right.
suppliers of Chinese stuff in
Right,
this country
right.
go to AliExpress and buy it. And if you set up, download the app, set up whatever it is, you can get stuff for pennies. I'm importing stuff through the post. I don't know why you don't pay import.
But tell me
Stuff
this,
just
right?
turns up at your house.
Car
Amazing.
guys and watches.
Yeah,
What's
yeah,
that
yeah.
about?
Well, I've never had a watch.
I
You
know.
know, I've had
Yeah.
like the Apple watches, which for me, I'm the modern man. You know, you've got to have an Apple watch. You're driving down the road and someone calls, yeah, don't worry about that. It's fine. But a lot of my friends have got Breitlings, Rolexes, that kind of stuff. But I've never had the guts to dig into a watch monetary. I know that I can buy a car, and I know I'll never lose money on it, and I make money on every car I buy. With a watch, it is so uncharted territory for me that it
Well, I think
scares me.
is
Do you
it
know,
not?
I
Is
did
it,
the
is
car
it the
guy watch
engineering thing? Is that what it is?
So that's the truth of the matter is, men will say it's the engineering thing, but I'm going to be absolutely bang honest
it's
with
jewelry.
you. No, it's not. It's insecurity about the way that you look.
Oh,
And it boils
So
down.
it is
It boils
jewelry.
down to
Yeah.
It boils down to being 14 years old, looking yourself in the mirror and going, yeah, nah.
I need a big
it's not
watch.
good. What do girls like?
See, joking aside, I was.
Cars and-
Bit of bling.
Well, yeah, exactly.
A bit of bling.
It shows that you've got some money.
Yeah, so you might be able to take them somewhere other than McDonald's.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And
But
for
what
me,
about what about when you're older and you don't necessarily need
We're
to do
going to
that?
McDonald's because
Okay.
I can't afford
Yeah.
anything else because I'm wearing my Rolex.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the double cheeseburger.
Yeah,
you can't.
definitely.
There's always something on the menu at McDonald's which is irresistible.
See, what I did was I went to Turkey and I bought 4 of the fake Breitlings that were like normally 10
You
grand
are the
each.
master of fake.
The
aren't
master,
you?
I'm the
of fake.
fake master.
But Tim, what's caught your eye here at the event today?
Well, Sam.
Yeah, apart from him.
silly hair.
He's a
Great to
really,
see it, yeah.
really, very handsome figure of a man
What has
there.
caught
but, you know.
my eye here? Oh, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I haven't had a good chance to look round yet because I've been.
There's a
talking
nice,
to fans
there's a nice black E30 over there.
which is
isn't
yours, which is lovely.
We love that.
I love that. But I like the earlier one with the slimmer lights on the
it?
back.
All right then.
But anyway, that must be an E or an F range.
Is that an RS6?
That's, yeah, it's an 89.
It's an 89. So
Yeah.
they changed that in 80.
Well,
when
they changed
was
the
that?
bumpers.
Yeah, they changed the bumpers,
and then
that's
they
The
right.
changed-
bumpers go more US spec, a bit more ugly after that shape,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
Well, no, because the European spec was like this, but America did get a different spec, and they,
A lot bigger.
especially actually on the earlier car, they had the wider chrome strip on the bumpers, you know, because they had the extended bumpers
It
in
needs
America.
the kill. It needs the M-Tech 2 on it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That one's original. I don't want to touch
Okay,
it.
we can get into this original nonsense.
So, is that an RS4 or is RS6?
That's a
over there?
4.
That's a 4.
Yeah.
See,
From here, I think.
They grab my heart a little bit, these Audis. 'cause-
I've gone off Audis.
Really?
Yeah, I've gone off
Okay.
Audis. Because do you know what it is? This is a conversation I probably don't want to have. But like in the 90s and the noughties and the whatevers, there was that car guy or typical BMW driver, typical whatever. To me, it's now become the typical Audi driver.
Okay, yeah.
They've taken that mantle of, well, it's just a typical BMW driver, the arm out
Okay.
the window, sitting like that.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't
People-
ever want to be that typical.
When I
anything
came back
driver.
from the Middle East and I drove a couple of Audis on test, and people said that, and I'm like, what's that all about?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was a BMW. But now, here's the interesting thing. So I drove that BMW.
They're
I had
awesome,
one.
by the way.
They are awesome. But I had that car in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I drove around London.
Yeah,
So typical
right.
Asian kid, black leather jacket, driving around the BMW with sunglasses.
Brilliant.
You know, it wasn't the best impression I was putting
No,
out
it
there. You know what I mean,
wasn't.
it was a little bit of a like, look at that guy.
I spent a
There's
lot of
words
time-
that I don't want to use, but you know what people would
I was
say, right?
17 in my Saxo with my neon rings pulsing on McDonald's trays under the handbrake doing donuts.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
yeah.
But the thing is, now driving that around London is a completely different
Yeah, totally.
proposition.
Yeah.
Because now suddenly you get smiles, you
Yeah,
get waves,
yeah, yeah.
you get thumbs ups. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
different demographic as well, different age range and
Yeah.
price
And it's
bracket.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
It takes you back to something you saw when you were like. I spent a lot of time in the Midlands, and I used to see lots of Asian kids driving around
Yeah.
in that car with the
Yeah.
bank on, and it was
Yeah.
part of my childhood.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd love to
Yeah.
see that again because I'm like, man, I'm 21 again.
Well, we can play some Bhangra later.
Yeah, I'd love to. Absolutely.
Austin
Yeah, yeah.
Healy.
Oh, check this out.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Was that Jensen Healy?
Yeah, no, from Austin here, isn't it? But
I reviewed an electric one of those.
Oh.
you're really floating under my nose some controversial issues here, aren't you? Really are trying to snare me.
Made by Revival, they're making 10 of them,
Yeah.
and basically they're electric, and I drove 2 of them. I drove a 3,
So are they
a 1
rebodying, like are they a new car exactly, or are they taking
it's
old
a-
cars?
Don't do
They
it.
take an existing car, they basically unbolt the engine, and they put in a motor and a battery pack. But they
Don't
don't
do
change
it.
anything.
Okay, so you can go
can't-
back.
So you
You
still
can
get
go back.
experience.
Yeah, you can go back. You
No,
can
hang
put
on,
it back.
you still get a certain amount of the experience.
Yeah. Oh, you do,
But
because you
the
still have the
engine-
manual gearbox.
So what percentage, okay, when you drive a car you interact with certain components, the
Yeah.
gearbox, the steering, and so on. But to you, what percentage of the experience is the engine?
The engine is a huge amount.
Oh, it is.
How much?
It is.
Come on, some number.
It depends on the car.
72.3%.
Let's say a the big Healy. Let's say a 3 litre.
Yeah.
What percentage? Bearing in mind the
It
people
would be
who do the electric one might be
70-80%.
Right.
Let's be honest.
There you go.
So in putting
it's
an
about
electric
like
motor,
even on the E30. I mean, that straight six. That's 70-80% of the experience.
so it's lost 80% of its soul when you put an electric motor in it.
You said it in a clear. But I understand that there's
But some people
out
like
there-
to drive. I mean, it's you know what? It's giving people a choice.
Yes.
And it's giving them the option to drive something.
But
that's,
if you drill into the figures of electric vehicles, they're not as green as people think.
yeah, well,
They're
that's
not
a
as
whole
green
other
as they
debate.
once were.
That's a whole other
Another
debate.
But we were just
Totally.
talking about, we've been running the Mustang, the
Yep.
British Motor Mustang on Coruscant Sustain.
Yep.
And
Which we use on our show, which is awesome.
brilliant.
Yep.
And that is ozone neutral.
Yep.
So we're not saying it's zero carbon,
Yep.
but it's neutral,
You're
which is
greener
good.
than a Tesla.
You're going to spend another 30p a litre, which we understand, but on a car that you're going to drag out once every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we can just eliminate one genre of vehicles, whether it's classic or motorsport, or if it's first time driver cars, if they had a incentive that your insurance would come down if you use Coruscant Sustain or something like that,
Yeah, which would be great.
Which would be good, right?
See, what I want to do is I want to bring out so for the electric car drivers that sit in their electric cars with their hands on the window looking at you in your 5 litre Mustang or whatever petrol or diesel car you've got. I want to bring out for people that drive a car like this one, like the C46 M3 here.
Best driver's car in the world.
Absolutely awesome car. But if you are driving that and you're driving on Coruscant, you should have. I want to bring out a marker like here, so you have a little plant power.
Oh, I like that. So instead of the green, maybe we have like.
Let's give you the green credentials, just let everybody know.
So when somebody is leaning out their window and look at you driving, you're driving your petrol, gas, guzzling, whatever, you can actually go, sorry, mine's greener than yours. So it's
but the thing is, you're driving your petrol gas guzzler. I mean, you've got 5 litre V8 Mustang, brand new. You can drive those in London, right? It's ULEZ compliant.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Whereas something like an older version of this would not be ULEZ compliant, and it's like
it's crazy.
It's gone crazy.
We need an incentive for people who drive cars like that to let the world know, no, I'm driving powered by Coruscant or driving by
I like that.
Yeah.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
100%. It's like having a Mary Curie sticker or a Poppy or something like that. We're going about it.
care.
We care a little bit too
But
much.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like almost like, why do you have to make that justification? At the end of the day, I mean, we all care about the environment that we live in, but the amount of, when people say, like people say to me, oh, you drive an old polluting car. I'm like, do you know how much CO2 a classic car actually contributes to the environment? It's next to nothing.
And
it's less, it's about 500 kilograms a year.
And also, a car takes a certain amount of miles to be neutral. So realistically,
the most environmentally friendly car is the oldest car.
Yeah, because that car still being on the road today is therefore not producing another vehicle, therefore not producing all the stuff it takes, and therefore is better than a car that is 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, and the CO2 was emitted by the factory in 1960, whatever it is. So that's a major
You're talking about 5.6 tons of CO2 to produce an average brand new car. It's up to 26 tons for an EV. That's before you've turned the wheel in the car.
Where they've got it wrong, what they should be doing is taking a modern car like that BMW there, and you drive it into a place and you pop the bonnet, you lose the car there for 4 days, and you come back and they've put batteries where the fuel tank was, and they've put
100%.
So you're not remaking brakes, you're not remaking wheels and tyres and things you don't need to make in a new shell.
There is that way, I understand that, but I'm an accredited mechanic myself, and you've got to understand there is so much technology that goes into making a car run on like a combustion engine to go to EV. There is so much stuff like the technology that when you slow down that generates power to
hydraulics.
It's very hard to do. But with a classic vehicle,
but this is why the older cars are easier to
easy
do.
to swap over.
I think there's a cut-off point around the 80s where it gets complicated when the computer.
I reckon a bit later. I reckon you
probably
could go
91, 92 when you start going ABS and traction control and all that, where it controls the engine by electronics. I think you're going to struggle a little.
But if there was a scheme, if there was some subsidised scheme by the government for people that had like that Z3, and you want to take that and you can turn that into an EV, it's 6 grand and you're done. Whatever it is, or something which is.
But at the moment, we're talking 40 grand plus to do this.
Absolutely, and they're rubbish.
At the moment, though,
in my experience, sorry,
you've had all these subsidies over the years for diesel. So, like, everyone, let's go diesel. Go diesel. We'll give you cheaper fuel, cheaper road tax. Diesel.
But that's proof that the government get it wrong. Scrappage scheme.
And this is what I'm worried about. We may be going down the same route again.
I think we absolutely are going down the same route again.
And the thing is, like, look, what I keep saying, I'm not against electric cars. For some people, in some situations, they're the perfect car. But electric car is a choice. Right? So you had diesel, you had petrol, you got hybrids, you got possibly hydrogen, you got electric car. They're all part of a choice. And choice is good.
Hydrogen hybrid, I think, is the future. And I'll tell you why I think that. So I was hanging out with my mate, a guy called Lord Bamford, who you
we've got all our Lord friends.
Hang on.
Name dropping.
Well, he owns JCB.
Right,
He's personally worth 76 billion. I say my mate. He's not a mate. I spent, he's just like, go away, Tim, you horrible little man. After a while,
everybody is Tim's mate.
No, he was a lovely guy, right? And I was chatting to him. And I was saying, "What's the future?" And it was great. And he went, "Hydrogen hybrid." And I went, "How do you know?" I went, "Well, me and my mate have decided." I went, "Who's your mate?" He went, "Mr. Toyota."
Oh,
The man who owns the biggest car manufacturer
in the world.
And I make JCBs, and he owns that, and we've decided that's what you're having. Right? That's such a cool.
That is the comment you want to hear.
You're having it.
No, Akio Toyoda has been a big proponent of hydrogen. In fact, he raced that Yaris, didn't he?
Yeah,
which was converted to hydrogen.
They had a few issues along the way, but at the end of the day, it's all about you got to start somewhere. Look at Elon landing on like a 10 pence piece nowadays. That took like billions to make it happen, but in the end he refined it and nailed it home. So there's people out there that
and the great thing about people like Toyota is a proper car guy, and one of the great things that he said recently is like, we're going to leave no car people behind, which is great.
That's
I just
so
love
cool,
that. That was so cool when he said that.
But if we talked 10 years ago, they tried to deleting the manual from Porsche. They started taking it away from everyone, and we all did an uproar, and now we got the manuals back. But like Americans, they are generated solely on that automatic two-pedal lifestyle. But nowadays, I want to go stick shift all the way.
So there we are. That's what we're having. We're having hydrogen hybrid.
We've decided
hydrogen hybrid with manual gearboxes. This is the answer. That's the future. Guys, it's been an amazing show. It's been fantastic.
It's been great, hasn't it?
And thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again. Pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Keep being awesome. See you guys soon.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.